This video falls under fair use. Fair use allows commentary, criticism, and reactions.
Our first story, our featured story, we're talking all about the Daily Wire bailout. Now, this is one of my, I think, best predictions. Because this is something that I feel like nobody could have even predicted unless you just deeply understand how the system works. Our big story tonight is all about this Daily Wire bid for strategic investment. The big story today is that Ben Shapiro's Daily Wire is seeking $100 million in the form of a strategic investment. They're going to raise all this private capital so that they can expand and grow their operation, in their own words, so that the Daily Wire could rival the New York Times. That's the plan. They say that within 18 months, Daily Wire has a target valuation of $2 billion. Within a year and a half, they think this company is going to be worth $2 billion. And you might be thinking to yourself, how is that possible? Has not the Daily Wire fallen off a cliff? Their subscriber count, their viewer count, their paid subscriptions, their ad revenue? And the answer is yes. Every single one of their metrics is down. There is no follower growth. As a matter of fact, they have fewer followers. They have no views anymore. Despite having a channel with 7 million subscribers on YouTube, their videos regularly struggle to surpass 20,000 views per video. Their subscribers are down 30% over the past year. Their ad revenue has not grown since 2023. So literally every single one of their metrics is down. You might remember as well, 2 months ago, there was another round of massive layoffs. Daily Wire has now laid off something like 50% of their staff. They fired their CEO, Jeremy Boring, and they just fired his replacement CEO. They lost 2 major shows, Candace Owens and Brett Cooper. And yet, in spite of all of this bad news, the numbers are bad, they lost the shows, they laid off the staff, the leadership's in chaos, they're restructuring the organization. In spite of all this, they're going to raise $100 million, and they really believe they're going to get a $2 billion valuation before 2028. And this is a story from Semaphore. We're going to work through some of the numbers here specifically. It says, quote, the Daily Wire, one of the biggest players in conservative media, is in talks to take on at least $100 million in investment with an eye on an initial public offering in a few years. The company, founded by conservative podcaster Ben Shapiro, has been in talks with Highmount Capital to lead a funding round that would value the company at $750 million, according to documents reviewed by Semaphore. Daily Wire, which is trying to take on the New York Times from the right, privately disclosed that it notched $48 million in adjusted EBITDA last year. But it also failed to grow its subscriber base and to keep the ones that it has paying, according to those documents. Highmount, which was founded by 2 former Koch Industries employees, has been helping the Daily Wire to shop around the investment to at least 4 other firms, including 2 strategic investors. The company's bankers said it had fielded buyout offers above $1 billion, but the Daily Wire's founders prefer to take a minority-aligned investment to grow the business.
Okay, so I gotta say that Shapiro, most people definitely dislike this guy, and his company is not doing good. I noticed that his company on YouTube, I know he has several YouTube channels connected to Daily Wire, and the views are down. And I think that the reason why is because, people no longer like this guy, So let's get back to the clip.
According to the documents, those bankers said a $2 billion IPO could be achievable within approximately 18 months. Once seen as the Fox News for the next generation of conservatives, the Daily Wire has stumbled over the last several years. Strategic missteps and internecine fighting have led to key departures and audience attrition. The Daily Wire's paid subscriptions, which make up about 3/4 of the company's revenue, dropped by 1/3 in 2025 from a year ago reached roughly 850,000 people. Ad revenue, which is 20% of its revenue, has also dropped every year since 2022. Despite boasting 3.2 million subscribers, recent YouTube videos have notched only tens of thousands of views, and it has begun to lose subscribers on that platform. As part of the company restructuring, Shapiro agreed to take less podcast money for more equity in the company, and the company planned to hire 5 emerging talents to produce podcasts and social media content. And I guess one of those is Matt Nuclear. Matt Nuclear, the Jubilee Niglet, who looks like an acorn. That's one of their emerging talents. Is that a nice way to say has no motion, is ugly, looks like Robert De Niro's mixed race kid? An emerging talent. That's an awfully charitable euphemism. One of those emerging talents. At one time, they had emerging talents like Brett Cooper, Candace Owens, Jordan Peterson. Now their emerging talent is the Jubilee Niglet, whose head is shaped like an acorn. Parents are from Angola. This is part of the $2 billion plan. Okay, everybody, quick, let's brainstorm. How are we going to bring the Daily Wire back? How are we going to make it like 2018 all over again when Ben Shapiro, left-winger, annihilated compilations were #1 on YouTube? How do we make it that way again? They put their heads together. They put their yarmulkes together. They said, I know. Let's hire this 19-year-old ugly black kid from Jubilee. I think that just might work. $2 billion valuation, here we come. But anyway, that's part of their plan. It says the memo also said that the company will increase its editorial investment to $6.4 million a year from $2.4 million and boost headcount to 67 from 22 as it expands to 67 from 22 as it expands beyond politics into breaking news, investigative journalism, national security, business, sports, health, and opinion. The memo said, quote, the advertising environment for Daily Wire has shifted meaningfully over the past 2 years. The stigma that kept many mainstream brands from advertising on conservative media platforms during the 2020 to 23 period has largely dissipated. The return of Fortune 500 advertisers validates the platform's scale and audience quality, and we expect the advertiser base to continue broadening as Daily Wire's content mix diversifies. So, a few months ago when the news of the layoffs was announced, everybody was taking a victory lap. And everybody said it's over for Ben Shapiro. People said, who even watches Ben Shapiro? They have no subscriber growth. They get no views. He's clearly not relevant. It's over for Zionist media. And now the alternative media will fill the space.
Okay, when it comes to, Shapiro, I don't think that it's over for him because he has a lot of backing. But as of now, it's not looking good at all for Shapiro. So let's get back to the clip.
And I warned you. I said not so fast because that's not how this works. You have to understand what the purpose of news media is. Why did Jeff Bezos buy the Washington Post? Why did Elon Musk buy Twitter? Is this because they are benevolent billionaires that have taken an interest in news media? Absolutely not. The reason the moneyed interests buy the news media platform or the social platform is because there is actually an intangible value, not a monetary value measured in dollars, not a monetary value in terms of profits. Jeff Bezos runs Amazon. He doesn't need any more cash. He doesn't need any more capital. Elon Musk runs Tesla, SpaceX. They have giant government contracts. They don't need any more cash either. And Twitter is not a cash cow. Twitch is not a cash cow. The Washington Post is not a super profitable business. Amazon doesn't need the Washington Post to make cash. The intangible value of media, and news media in particular, we all know media conditions public opinion. Media influences society. Tastes, trends, consumer habits, and yes, political opinions. All of this has impact on the market itself, on the next election. It is a form of in-kind lobbying. It is influence peddling. And so what is the purpose of an outfit like the Daily Wire? It is true that at one point the Daily Wire was a very profitable company. It made Ben Shapiro very rich. It made their investors very rich. And it is true that for a time, it incidentally was a profit-generating enterprise. And you might expect that like other industries and like other markets and other businesses, Daily Wire, the purpose of it is to bring their product to the market, make the best product, offer it at the best price, sell the most of it, and make money like they were doing. But that is only incidental. That's actually not the purpose of the Daily Wire, and those are not the rules that govern the market the Daily Wire is in. You may think that if the Daily Wire ceases to make a good product at a reasonable price, if they lose profit, lose revenue, if they're not able to pay their employees, if they're no longer on the cutting edge, you might expect that like any other business, they're going to simply die off, declare bankruptcy, declare insolvency, sell their assets, and then they're just going to go and do something else. But that's not how this works. And I said that a month ago. Daily Wire's losing subscriptions, losing money, no longer profitable. It doesn't even matter. And I told you that what would happen almost certainly is that some conglomerate, some billionaire investor, someone from the outside was going to swoop in, give them a huge injection of cash, and that's going to keep them in the game.
Okay, so I gotta say that I definitely agree with Nick J. Fuentes, because what he said about the Daily Wire is definitely true, because, I mean, they've been bleeding money for a long time now. So that's the reason why they're looking for investors to invest in their company and just pour in some more money. And, just like he said, when they have all the money from all these investors, the game has already changed by, that time. And that's the reason why they're in no rush, because when they get the money, probably in a couple of, I would say maybe 1 year or 2 years, then it's going to be more censorship, within the YouTube world. And also not only YouTube, but, TV and in, school, universities, colleges, and yeah. So I think this was, great breakdown by Nick J. Fuentes. So let me know in the comment section what you guys think about this. So make sure to like this video, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next videos.